is Mark Gunn Media.
Hit it!
Welcome to Gunshots Straight from the Hip. I'm your host, Mark Gunn. The views expressed on this program are those of the host and guests and not necessarily reflective of anyone or any entity associated with this broadcast. This episode brought to you by Before Your First Gig, an audiobook written by Steve Dustcircle and produced by Mark Gunn Media. If you're a beginning musician, this is a primer that you'll definitely want to hear. Tips and strategies for setting yourself up for live performances and paid gigs. Before Your First Gig by Steve Dustcircle. Available now on iTunes, Audible.com, and Amazon. Before Your First Gig by Steve Dustcircle. Produced by Mark Gunn Media. This episode, Nike, Kaepernick, and the art of lost messaging. Once again, another American corporation has stepped out into what people are seeing as dangerous territory. Nike is celebrating the 30th anniversary of its Just Do It campaign by picking Colin Kaepernick as its lead spokesman.
Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything.
Now, as someone who's in the business of marketing, I'm always appreciative of companies that address social issues in their advertising. I've never had a problem with any company that can mix social responsibility with a compelling marketing campaign. Some people have a problem with this kind of marketing because it puts issues that they'd rather not deal with into focus. And more often than not, the company takes a position that they don't agree with. One of the best examples was from a few years ago when Coca-Cola produced a commercial featuring people of different ethnicities singing America the Beautiful in their native languages.
So beautiful for spacious skies, por tus olas de granos d'ambar, yo piscina takuti, sa ibabaw ng mga prutas. America, America, God shed His grace on thee. Orba hijre ke saath aaj tera cha, tu la mer priya. Berat tu verrière tirotard, from sea to shining sea.
Coke illustrated the very idea of what this country claims itself to be about. But the ones who are really angry over this have the mindset that real Americans only speak English.
Bizarre hashtags started trending on Facebook and Twitter, indicating people's intentions to boycott. Listen, weirdos. If these images from the Coke ad of Americans of all different colors and cultures, if it sends you into a xenophobic rage, it's time to examine not only yourself and your possible racist attitudes, but also your fundamental misunderstanding of exactly what America is. America is a nation of immigrants.
They threaten boycotts, and as of this recording, Coke is still in business, right? Now, throughout history, companies have traditionally stayed away from social issues. Their job was to sell their products to as many people as possible. No more, no less. However, as demographics continue to change, the demands of consumers are different as well. Advertisers see this and are making bolder decisions when it comes to their messaging. Remember the Budweiser commercial from the Super Bowl a couple of years ago? It focused on one of the founders' journeys to this country as an immigrant.
Welcome to America.
Anheuser-Busch is now in the middle of one of the country's most contentious issues.
There was a line in which an actor said, "You don't belong here," that upset a lot of so-called real Americans because they felt like the commercial made them look like they were racist.
The hashtag boycott Budweiser has gotten tens of thousands of tweets.
Well, if the shoe fits. Which brings me back to Nike and Colin Kaepernick. Here's a reminder of how and why Cap is in the spotlight in the first place.
I mean, ultimately, it's to bring awareness and make people, realize what's really going on in this country. There are a lot of things that are going on that are unjust, people aren't being held accountable for, and that's something that needs to change. That's something that, this country stands for freedom, liberty, justice for all, and it's not happening for all right now. these aren't new situations. This isn't new ground. It's things that have gone on in this country for years and years and have never been addressed, and they need to be. I'm going to continue to stand with the people that are being oppressed. To me, this is something that has to change, and when there's significant change, and I feel like that flag represents what it's supposed to represent, and this country is representing people the way that it's supposed to, I'll stand.
Once again, the reason why Colin Kaepernick began taking a knee during the national anthem. Anyone that tells you anything different is lying to you and simply doesn't want to deal with the issues that the protest continues to raise. So instead of focusing on Kaepernick's message, people are choking themselves on the American flag, making Cap's protest about that and not about the atrocities being carried out in its name.
So when I see somebody like Colin Kaepernick in an NFL uniform on an NFL field not respect that flag, I'm not saying that he doesn't respect the military, but just not stand for that flag, that really bothers me. And I really feel like he's insulted the flag.
The reaction that Nike's new ad got when it was released a few days ago was absolutely priceless.
You know how many other sneakers there are to buy, to choose from? You're going to go ahead and say, hey, buy them our shoes. We stand with people who kneel for the national anthem. Well, sorry, Nike. I've been buying you for the past 20-plus years. Not anymore.
I'm hoping not only will Americans boycott you, I actually think you've lit a fire underneath their asses to ensure that they get out and vote. I'm going to happily burn my Nikes tonight because of your anti-American views. It is actually beyond sad. This is how you feel, but I'm actually going to ask others to do the same. I will never personally spend another cent on this company that hates America.
Now, here's what I think is so funny about all of this. Those folks that are going out of their way to burn their Nike gear may not be aware that Colin Kaepernick has been a paid spokesman for Nike since 2011. And I'm quite sure that they bought all of that stuff between then and now. Now, from this marketing professional standpoint, I would have loved to have been a part of those strategy sessions for the campaign.
Nike's controversial move to back Kaepernick came with risk. Since the announcement, Nike has been mentioned more than 6 million times on Twitter. While there was backlash, experts say many of Nike's consumers are millennials who want brands to be transparent on their stances on social issues.
For a company that simply needs to sell products and wants to sell them around the world, weighing in on politics is a pretty dicey thing to do.
Look, Nike knows its core audience, and trust me, angry old white dudes burning Nike shoes and socks and T-shirts when their vision of America is altered in any way, not it.
I'm not saying you don't have a right to protest. I'm just saying you're doing it the wrong way. Why not burn your shoes privately instead of putting it on the internet for everyone to see? Why are you disrespecting the hardworking people of Nike?
Oh, I don't think that's what they're...
Protest is a right guaranteed under the Constitution, but there is a time and place for that. And the internet is neither the time nor the place.
It's not?
I'm tired of you people politicizing shoes.
Oh, wait, I see. You're just saying all the stuff white people said when Kaepernick was kneeling, aren't you?
You're damn right I am! Woo! Go ahead, burn your shoes, you dummies. And if you don't have any Nikes, take your ass down to the ATM, take out $140 and burn that. Woo!
So for those saying that Nike is making a big mistake and that they'll lose customers or go out of business, here's a reality check. Right-wing media focused on the fact that Nike's stock dropped some 3 points in the wake of the release of that new ad. What they didn't tell you was that other shoe companies had similar losses the same day. Why? Because their president, you know, the dumbass in chief, scared the crap out of speculators with his threats of tampering with the North American Free Trade Agreement. What they also wouldn't tell you is that a leading media research company calculated that Nike benefited from some $43 million in free advertising because of all the social media buzz. They also didn't tell you about the 31% increase in sales either, in just one day. So much for the brand being damaged.
What Nike is confident in is that their popularity and the support for their brand will be able to withstand the type of criticism they're getting from conservatives willing to cut up their socks or burn their tennis shoes out of frustration, for the company getting behind the idea that racism and police brutality are problematic in America.
Look, for Nike, it's all about the bottom line. For all of its ruthless precision in the execution of this ad campaign, it has to be understood that they wanted to ensure that they'd end up on the right side of history. After all, racism has always been bad for business.
Edgy new ad that has Pepsi apologizing right now. Critics call the online commercial for Mountain Dew racist.
Not only are they calling it racist, some are actually calling it the most racist commercial ever. Critics say it portrays racial stereotypes and also makes light of violence toward women.
In just 43 short seconds, Kia Ora walks us through every condescending stereotype white Americans have invented for black people.
And if your company can even imply that it's fighting against it, say by making a Colin Kaepernick the face of a multi-million-dollar campaign, it's a win. Their core audience is younger, has more disposable income, and because of the current toxic nature of today's political climate, recognize their economic power more than previous generations. Their buying decisions are now more principled. Where do companies stand on certain issues?
If you look back at Nike's history, they've always kind of done things like this. Michael Jordan wearing a red and black shoe, when at the time the NBA said the shoe had to be solid white, is one thing. Nothing Michael Jordan did was ever as divisive as this issue, what Colin Kaepernick is doing. You on one side or the other.
Now, this can have a very chilling effect on businesses. Just ask Lowe's, Home Depot, or Starbucks for that matter. Now, while I applaud Nike for what is surely going to turn out to be a brilliant business move, I'm not so quick to run out and buy more gear because of it. I have some serious concerns about where this could lead and what becomes of Cap's original message. I'll share those concerns right after this. If you're an advertiser, one of the most important things about getting your message out is actually standing out from the rest of the crowd. If you're listening to this program right now, this is where you'd hear your commercial. As an exclusive sponsor of Gunshots Straight from the Hip, your commercial is professionally produced and gets a longer shelf life based on your needs. Gunshots Straight from the Hip is a unique and compelling program unlike anything else in the marketplace. Episodes are available for download on iTunes, TuneIn, and MarkGunMedia.com. And depending on how you tailor your message, the potential for new and repeat customers is that much greater. Best of all, it's extremely cost-effective. If you'd like more information on how you can be a sponsor of this broadcast, call Mark Gun Media, Inc. at 502-407-0283. That's 502-407-0283. Or log on to markgunmedia.com. For downloads of this and past episodes and information about all the multimedia services we offer, log on to our website at www.markgunmedia.com. That's markgunmedia.com. Welcome back to Gunshots Straight from the Hip. Nike, Kaepernick, and the Art of the Lost Message.
Kaepernick kicked off the movement to kneel during the anthem 2 years ago. In solidarity, more than 200 other NFL players, coaches, and even owners followed suit. Taking a knee or sitting for the anthem became a kind of political Rorschach test, seen either as an act of nonviolent protest.
We back them 100%. They're our family, they're my brothers.
Or a sign of disrespect.
A lot of these players today are young, naive, and stupid.
You should stand for the national anthem.
We've been talking about the new Nike ad campaign celebrating the 30th anniversary of their Just Do It slogan and the controversial decision to pick former 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick as the face of that campaign. I've talked about the reaction of those that don't like what Nike's doing.
You are alienating a number of folks that would normally buy your brand. And I have a feeling if I know the folks that are protesting this, they're not going to buy Nike.
However, there are a lot more people who do.
As soon as I saw that ad, I was very proud. The statement that he made and been making finally comes forth. He will finally get his justice.
I said before the break that I wouldn't be running out and buying new Nike gear as a means of showing support for Cap. If you're so inclined, knock yourself out.
Half of the country that will continue to buy. In fact, I'm going to go out and buy some more Nike stuff.
My main reason for not jumping on the spending bandwagon has very little to do with Nike as a company. Now, granted, they do have their share of controversies right now with labor disputes and a serious lack of diversity in their boardroom. My problem is that as great and inspirational as the current commercial is, it also serves to further dilute Cap's original message.
I mean, ultimately, it's to bring awareness and make people realize what's really going on in this country. There are a lot of things that are going on that are unjust, people aren't being held accountable for, and that's something that needs to change. That's something that, this country stands for: freedom, liberty, justice for all. And it's not happening for all right now.
While it only alludes to his current situation, it does nothing to address it directly.
These aren't new situations. This isn't new ground. It's things that have gone on in this country for years and years and have never been addressed, and they need to be. I'm going to continue to stand with the people that are being oppressed. To me, this is something that has to change. And when there's significant change, and I feel like that flag represents what it's supposed to represent, and this country is representing people the way that it's supposed to, I'll stand.
Let's face it, one of the other reasons why Cap is being chosen as the face of this campaign was because his contract with Nike was about to expire, and the thought of another brand getting him scared the suits at Nike to death. Now, the new deal is worth undisclosed millions of dollars, in addition to a shoe and wardrobe deal that's going to be released under the Kaepernick 7 clothing line. And Nike's also going to be donating to some of Cap's charities. That's a win for Nike. It's a win for Cap. But young black men are still dying at the hands of police. Just 2 days ago,
Dallas police identifying one of their own who killed an unarmed man in his apartment. Police say Amber Geiger, a 4-year veteran now on administrative leave, finished her shift Thursday night and headed home. But she went to the wrong floor and the wrong apartment. The officer, who's white, told investigators she shot Botham Jean, thinking he was an intruder, and then called 911. Shot dead, 26-year-old Botham Jean, a Harding University graduate who ran for student body president. A community grieving, with some saying race played a factor in the fatal shooting.
Yeah, he was sitting at home, and his skin color was still enough for him to get shot at.
Here's the thing. For those that wrongly think that Kaepernick's protest is disrespecting the flag, the anthem, and the military, and for those that support Nike for getting behind Colin Kaepernick, the bottom line is this: the issues of police brutality, an unfair justice system, and institutional racism are just as problematic as they've always been. And please, spare me the "there's always going to be racism" bullshit. That's a cop-out, and you and I both know it. What Colin Kaepernick and others that take a knee during the national anthem are telling you is that America, for all of what you see as its red, white, and blue awesomeness, simply hasn't lived up to what she claims to be. One nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all. She hasn't done so since the time of her inception, and that massive level of hypocrisy must be addressed. People of color continue to die because you're not doing so. That's the message that we can't let get lost in all of the Nike hype. When it comes to racism, I've said it before and I'll say it again. You're either actively fighting against it or you're condoning it with your silence. You can no longer stay on the sidelines. One way or the other, you have to get into the fight. As Nike began saying 30 years ago, just do it. You've been listening to Gunshots Straight from the Hip. The views expressed are those of the host and guests and not reflective of any business entity or anyone associated with this broadcast. If you have any comments or want more information on how to be a sponsor, log on to our website at markgunmedia.com or call us at 502-407-0283. That's 502-407-0283. Thank you for listening.
Mark Gun Media. No hype, no hoopla, just damn good work.